Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Brianna.
Yeah, good morning. Wow.
Good morning, everyone.
Where's our
Good
sign
morning.
sheet?
Right here, it's coming around right now.
Morning, Bob.
How you doing?
Doing good. Oh, there you go. Tracy.
We haven't started yet, so it's all, it's all good.
I was so close, I'm like, I don't want to get there, and I'm like, oh geez, gotta hurry now. I underestimate.
So Brianna's on board. Good morning. And Jennifer's on. Good morning, Jennifer.
It's like it's connecting.
Trying to zoom up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and start the meeting. We'll start at 8:35 this morning. With that, we'll do introductions. I'm Eric Van Zant, Chair.
I'm Deanna Balcar, Vice Chair. Council President Tracy Hensley, liaison to the commission.
Spencer Pollock, Canby Public Works. Gary Bryant, Chamber Member, Transportation Safety.
Bob Cameron, citizen.
And we value that citizen.
I'm Brianna. I'm the planning liaison.
Excellent. And
Jenny Driscoll, committee member.
Jenny, there you go. Good morning.
Good morning.
All
I have
right.
to hop up a few minutes before 10.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I have a meeting I can't get out of.
no.
Thank you.
And I remember, so I'm gonna try to expedite this with, it looks like a pretty light crew, so I might be able to get through this pretty
We
quick.
have.
That was, yeah, barely.
Yeah.
You got
Okay, just did.
Jenny,
Just with Jenny here, okay.
Jenny, Gary, yeah, you've got
Okay.
four, so you've got a quorum until Jenny leaves.
Yeah, so that's why
So
we
have
gotta
you heard
get
from
that.
Jackie or Clint?
Jackie's not able to come, and Clint I didn't hear from.
Okay. And I know you have an opening, but I'll try and fill up there.
Okay, good, that's good, that's one of the agendas, that's good. So, next is citizens input. And I was contacted, by Donna, who put in the crosswalk there at Fourth and Knott.
Oh,
So we had a lovely conversation.
We have been trying to get a hold of them.
her name is
I
Donna.
guess so.
Well, it was a little bit of phone tag for myself also.
Okay.
So, she is planning on coming to next month's meeting
Okay.
Okay.
to, address her concerns and, her requests. So information at this stage of the game is that, she wanted, she had, just to get you up to date, AJ. I had contact with Donna, the young lady that, put in a crosswalk at Fourth and Knott.
Oh, you did, okay.
Yeah, so she called me and, we had a nice little chat.
So we are under the understanding that it was her daughter.
That is it, so
Is Donna the,
yes,
okay,
Yeah, so Donna admits to doing it. She did it, sounds like for several reasons, mostly because it sounds like her dog got out and got hit and killed. And, she also has a bunch of school kids in the general area. So, she's going to come next month and with the presentation, to try to get a couple crosswalks put in, on Knott and possibly one across Fourth. So, that's to come,
Okay, and she's actually gonna come to the meeting, okay.
so,
Touch her then.
Yes, we can.
yeah, so,
Don't have a last name?
Stuart
Myers,
huh?
Stuart Myers.
Stuart
Two
Myers.
names?
Well, her mother's name is Stuart Myers.
Oh.
So then we can talk.
Okay, so it's a hyphenated name.
Yeah.
Seems how we've been trying to knock
Right.
this door for how long?
Yeah.
Well, actually, she said that AJ is the one that brought her to come to here. So we have AJ to thank for her to coming here.
Okay, so she's gonna come present her,
And you're
she's
gonna-
gonna pitch her case, why she wants a crosswalk.
I'm
She's
Chris
gonna
Ann,
come
the
there, but-
compliance officer. Chris Ann.
Oh, Chrisanne, okay.
And, yes,
And as a citizen, could I just ask you also consider painting orange or yellow on the Knox and Fourth?
That is on our list of things to paint, and I see the truck has left finally, so,
And this is
they,
south side, right?
north.
Oh, it is
So
north.
they were going out to paint curbs this morning.
Yeah, it's just
This
that,
is North Fork.
that car keeps parking, the van keeps parking right on Fourth and Knox, you know?
Mhm,
And you have to,
yeah.
so that is, citizen input, two aspects. Any others, sir?
not,
No,
don't be quiet.
Do not
no.
be
Very
quiet.
hard to do.
We don't want you to be quiet, we want you here.
With that, we'll go into old
Do
business.
you wanna review and approve the minutes?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I probably should do that, shouldn't I? I've got the thing right here in front of me, and I'm not even reading my own script. So yes, any questions or concerns about June's minutes? Hearing
Hey
none.
guys, real quick on the crosswalks, are we pursuing any kind of compensation from them for the work Public Works is gonna do on this? Or have we decided to let it go?
We're,
This might be
that-
the big
that-
talk about.
Yeah, at this moment, I don't think that we're have an internal decision made with staff on how that's being handled.
so we're
I
gonna,
was just curious, thank you.
we're gonna hear next month, so that may have some bearing on it. So hearing,
Real quick, I can't make any motions or anything like that, but I did want to bring up as far as in the minutes go, with electing Jenny to be the one to go to the utility, or utility meetings for any of the
mhm,
pre-construction type stuff.
mhm.
With Jenny being on the planning commission, I don't think that she can actually participate in those meetings, because those meetings happen before it goes to.
Oh. I checked with Don right after the meeting, and he checked through with legal and everything, and they said there wasn't a conflict. So we're okay on that front.
Are you sure? Because
I was a little skeptical, but they said it was fine, so.
we discussed everything. I don't know if Dawn understands what the meeting is that we do. It's not a pre-construction meeting, it's a pre-utility meeting. So it's where all the utility providers come together and discuss internally what's going on. So at those meetings,
Mhm.
you typically wouldn't have a say or anything like that. You're kind of there to observe and then just throw in a couple of things. But you would also have to, for every single subdivision, say that you have had contact and know about the project before you vote on the project.
We could circle back if you want and confirm again, that's fine. And if somebody else wants to do it, I don't need to be the person to do it. Part of the reason I volunteered was just because they're daytime meetings. And I've got a little more flexibility in my schedule to
Yeah.
attend those, but if someone else wants to do it, I don't have any specific skin in the game to be that person.
Just a heads up for everyone, my role is changing. I am starting a new job July 1st. And, I might be able to help out with scenarios of like what Bob was doing for that possibly, but I would have to check with my employer because I'm gonna be working for a city job. And so I need to see if I can have flexibility to be able to do that once a month meeting, right? Aren't those once a month?
No, it is literally just whenever a
They're at.
project.
Oh, okay.
Whenever a project comes forward before it goes to planning commission, we provide, the utility providers provide all the conditions of approval that need to happen going forward
Okay.
You know,
from our side of it.
it's not extremely important to have a traffic safety person there. I mean, because because you're not gonna give much comments about what they're doing. It was always useful for me, just from gaining the perspective of how much the utilities here in Canby really appreciate doing a good job. And that kind of perspective about how serious, how involved putting in a roadway and everything is, so that when we would make recommendations here, you would have that background so that you can appreciate it's just not like that. There's a lot of mechanics that go into making a road and doing a subdivision and detail. It just kind of tempered my enthusiasm about, and also appreciate all the players involved, you know what I mean? So
Okay.
that's the kind of perspective that you come into at that age.
So I think what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna table this issue. And what I think we're going to do is it's open to anyone who wants to attend. Period. So no one's asked to go attend. If you have the time, show up, do it, come back, share the knowledge. If not, we're not gonna worry about it.
Sounds good.
I just,
One thing, somebody needs, maybe Eric, your name can go out so that Rhonda can send out the email. And then you can then forward it to your team, you know,
That's fine.
because she sends out email to all the participants. And it's so unpredictable when it's gonna be.
it is very unpredictable, and I would ask that it's not something where, as much I'd love for everyone to come and watch what it is that we do, yeah,
One representative.
it does need to be just the one representative, and, again, we're creating the conditions of approval that are going to the planning commission, discuss as a whole group, and what was always good is every once in a while, Bob would just quick on a little side note, you know, there is this issue over here that some of the rest of us might not.
Then I'll have Rhonda email me, and when I put it out to the group, I'll advise them one only. And,
Have that person report to you.
Yeah.
That way you can say,
Exactly.
okay, so-and-so is gonna be the
Yes.
and
representative.
that way I know who's going.
Yeah.
So that issue resolved. Back to the original problem. June's minutes. Hearing any questions, concerns, disbeliefs? Joe? Okay. June's minutes, do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Motion, second,
I'll second.
second it. So we got minutes approved. We got that issue worked out,
And
especially,
I'll send the minutes to this city like I
perfect.
can use them.
All right, so now if I follow my pattern here, let's go ahead and discuss some issues that were brought up last month. And the first one was Spencer will add a speed sign near Knightsbridge Road off of North Holly Street. Done?
Yep.
All right, awesome. North Ninth and Holly for traffic congestion and speeding. Any special emphasis there or?
Yeah, I actually talked to another resident today, this morning, about, speeding on Holly as well. I've been out there not as much as I had a few weeks ago, but I still spend a little bit of time out there. It definitely has tamed down a little bit as far as speeding goes, but people still are speeding. It's just not nearly like it was before I really enforced
Okay, cool.
a few weeks ago.
Territorial road issue. I believe that was my email from a citizen and I will have to follow up with that on later. North Redwood Street and citizen wanting speed bumps. So vaguely remember that, but I'll have to refer back to my notes on that. And I will try to make contact with that person to show up here and present their case, do it like everyone else does. And then an issue with South Third Street. Anyone remember the issue with South Third Street?
Were we talking southwest third?
I thought that was something Jenny brought up,
Jenny?
not sure.
Yeah, I think I just mentioned that since the construction's been happening on 99, a whole new set of people have learned that you can get from Elm to Ivy on Third. So we have quite a lot of people who are speeding down the road and being a little reckless about the speed that they're going. So some of it is focused a little bit more on the time that some of the kids are going to and from the high school, but honestly, any time of day you can find somebody being a doofus. Probably like 1 in every 20 cars, but we have quite a lot of cars, so it still ends up averaging out a decent amount. So yeah, if you want to take a peek at that, you'll probably get some people who could use a reminder.
Okay.
Speed limit.
We'll address that on this long list of things to do. With that being said, that was the issues brought up for last month. Let's go ahead and follow up on the discussion for the city ordinance for lowering the speed limit. Has there been any finalization on that? Bob?
Yeah, Spencer, I don't know if you saw, I sent you an email this morning or yesterday.
Yes.
And it contains the, it was forwarded, it's the one I originally sent to everybody, but it has the draft in it. So, yeah, okay, good. It's right up there. This is I think Spencer and Brianna for all your guys' input and assistance. This is a draft of the ordinance that Darcy Estate people had come to us asking that they be able to reduce the speed to 20. And I'm of the belief that if we're going to do anything, then we should have it all prepared for the city instead of, asking the city to come up with procedures that would deal with that.
Makes sense.
That being said, I must tell you, I am not exactly crazy about this. Mainly because reducing the speed does not necessarily get compliance. And we already have it at 25, and there's only a few, from our speed study, there were just a few people who were speeding, but they speeded such random hours that it's hard to any particular officer, so reducing it to 20 does not gonna mean.
There's that one guy at 3 PM, we know him.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So it's like, okay, you reduce the speed to 20, it doesn't mean that the person is not gonna speed. So I mean, this policy is not a panacea in itself, okay, I just thought I'd give you guys that heads up. And you may have compliance issues, the same as you did with 25. But that being said, this is what the goal was, to come up with the procedures, so we came up with the procedures, okay? Would you like for me to go through it point by point, or what would you guys like to do?
I think because of the time constraints that we're on, I apologize, Bob, but just the highlights.
Okay, highlights is, it is a very comprehensive, thanks to my co-helpers. It's pretty comprehensive. It puts the responsibility on the people wanting to have this, first of all. They have to, as it spells out, is a real set of procedures. They have to have the responsibility of going to the city, asking for approval to start the process. They have to send out a notice to all of the people in the area, what is happening, and a channel for them to submit comment. All of this will be reviewed at the Traffic Safety Commission, you guys. to review their requests and do they fit some minimal criteria that what they have to ask is important and can be done, you know, and should be done. So you guys get to do that. And then you will submit your request, your recommendations to the city council for review. It also builds in a requirement that the planning department, public works, the police department, and the fire submit their comments regarding this for consideration
Okay.
at the same time. So all those public agencies will submit it to the traffic safety, you gather all those comments, and then you will submit your recommendation after review. It spells out also that the petitioner will be responsible for paying whatever fees that the city may require for this to review this, and also for this new additional signage. Okay, so it kind of creates a system where somebody doesn't make willy-nilly kind of recommendations like this. You gotta be fairly serious because you're gonna be
You're
investing
gonna have
some
some
money.
skin in the game, yeah.
Yes, some of the things, and I think that's appropriate, you know? Now, some of the criteria, we've kind of narrowed it down where I think it's important that you consider it. They must have clearly stated needs for change, and that other alternatives have been reviewed. So that's one of the first criteria, that they're gonna come to you and have to explain that, okay? That the roadways must be listed as a local street, because by state rules, I think it can't be it can't be territorial, which is a serious collector street. So it has to be a specific type of street. The housing unit in the development need to be rated 1.5 or 2 or above density. So density has to be considered as far as that goes. Road widths are considered here. Thresholds, proximity to the park. The other, one of the things that's also written up in the standards. Trying to find it.
Curves, I see that.
Oh, this is important. The boundaries of the proposed area must be clearly defined and represent a contained area. The use of this concept on a segment of a roadway not bound by stop signs is greatly discouraged. In other words, you can't have this kind of have a slow speed limit in the middle of like Holly Street. Between 9th and 10th, you gotta go 20 miles, and the rest you can go 25. I mean, it's not gonna work at all. Darcy Estate kind of makes somewhat sense because it is a kind of, despite outlets, it is a, you can draw a circle around. You know,
There's
you,
2 streets in and out, that's
yeah,
it.
you can't do it on Cedar Street. Although people are gonna say, well, they do it for,
All right,
they do it for schools, because
Yeah.
a good example is Ivy, going up Ivy, you know, in the middle of Ivy, you run into, you know,
School zone.
a school zone. But that is
school zone.
that is a society accepted exception to the rule. We say kids in schools are important and that's what's gonna happen. You know, and it's beyond us. So I think we've tried to narrow and make it realistic where you can. So this is for your decision and your guys' processing. It is available. I sent you guys a copy of it, so you have it. I'm not too sure what you guys want to do with it, but that's your decision.
Well, what we're gonna do with it is, we're gonna have the members look it over and come back next month and say yay, nay, and make a note, or whatever. So next month, we will have the final conclusion, and possibly a presentation to city. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Brianna. With that, we are talking about utilizing media for education and traffic concerns. Any input on that area?
Jackie and I have been getting more people on, the Facebook page that we created. Jackie and I've been trying to share things that are kind of informative for citizens with traffic and sharing things that the police are sharing on their Facebook page as another avenue to reach other Canby citizens. We've received positive feedback about it. We aren't having people like fighting on there, causing drama or whatever. It's more informative type thing. And Jackie and I've just been kind of keeping an eye out and then seeing what goes on.
And then Jackie put out a request for an additional person for a project you guys are gonna be working on.
Yeah, she was talking about maybe trying to get another person to kind of help us, just so that then it's not like her and I, like in
Right.
case there's conflict or something, that I'm thinking with Bob's vacancy, maybe once that's filled, we can kind of see if
Okay.
that person might be interested, or if anyone on the committee currently, I don't know if Gary or anyone else might wanna be involved with that, so.
Gary's a young, attractive guy, he can be a TV star. All right, well, we'll table that and thank you for
Yeah.
your work. Just to let you guys know that as of yesterday, when I last looked, our session had 40 hits on YouTube. So we're gaining popularity on YouTube slowly, positively. So next issue is discussion in response to the fire department's request that I put in regarding speed cushions. Quote, discussions with Chief Davis is that he does not want to have any type of speed cushions added as a response hazard, unquote. So, as of right now, my understanding from the fire district is they don't want anything in the road. Bumps, cushions, people, nothing in the road.
I would agree that no people on the road.
So,
That's a good little.
duly noted with that though, we will now take the fire department's input and still wait when we look at other requests for speed bumps or speed cushions. Because I think eventually we may have to do something. I think they're gonna eventually show up. That's,
And which road is this again?
there's no specific road,
Oh.
no specific road yet, but we're gonna talk about something in a minute that might indicate.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Next on the progress sheet is accident data, which I am still trying to figure out how to work on that, so it's in progress. Speed enforcement, I've reached out to Traffic Logic. I'm going to be scheduling a Zoom meeting with them, and seeing about their products. I really like their prospects, but they're only one of a few, so I'm continuing. So I have that Zoom meeting to come shortly.
What are they?
I'm sorry?
What are they?
They are just like Red Flex. They have the same concepts. Obviously, each manufacturer has their own style of camera, but the majority of them all have basically very nice input for us. They have, so you put up a mobile camera on the street. It can just sit there and collect data. So instead of having the little box that we use, it collects how many cars, their speeds, their license plates. It can send a warning to the driver. And then it can forward the information to the police department for a citation. And then the police also have access because of the license. They could actually do some extracurricular activities based on that also. They have mobile devices and they also have fixed devices. I did try to reach back out to Redflex. I think I may have burnt my bridge with that representative. She has not called me back yet. So I will try to reconnect on that. Because there were some issues with the new state statute that passed. And the interpretation that I thought gave us the advantage. And her interpretation that we did not have the advantage. So, she had the input that in order to have a camera, it would have to be a like Milwaukee van type system with an operator in the vehicle actually connected to it. My interpretation was, no, a camera just setting up and issuing tickets. And, so I'm trying to figure that out, and hopefully with, Traffic Logic, we'll have another interpretation.
With all our agencies being combined here though, you monitoring the state, you monitoring the city or the county roads, and we've got. We're all bundled up together here.
It would be the attendant, the implementation would be for the city, because we're only a city entity. So, ODOT, if they're gonna handle through town, it would have to be addressed through ODOT. The city would have to pursue those avenues, same with the county, just like we did with the traffic signs. So, and that could be the next step. Nothing says we can't reach out and try it. So that being done, we already, yes, go ahead, sir.
Have we thought about reaching out to one of our legislative representatives from this area? So that they could get maybe a legislative interpretation?
Well, I was hoping to sit down and talk. AJ said he's gonna be back, so I'm going to, after the meeting, sit down and talk to AJ about the ORSs. Because he should know specifically how it's read out. If not, then I guess I need to get permission to contact. I would like to contact legal and see if they could find out a conclusion. But that's,
We can have Eileen do that.
yeah, okay. So,
I can't just like.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Not everybody can just
It-
call
it-
the city.
it does-
no, yeah, that's,
appreciate everything that you've been
Yeah.
working on this one, but when we start talking about interpretations of state statute, I don't think it's the best use of time if it's you, a citizen member, committee person, talking with a representative from a company about what the different statutes is, and then having, even Officer Miller, who, he's not that I want to speak for him, but he's not a policy maker for the city on that type of a thing, as far as how we want to interpret the state statute. So I would say that the best thing would be to just gather information. And then if it's something that this group wants to see move forward, ask the liaison if there's time for a work session to then present the findings to the council and let them decide if they interpret it a certain way. Because even if we wanted in this group, we can't make any kind of other decisions, am I wrong on any of that?
No, you're spot, yeah, you're spot on.
Okay,
So
But-
bring to the council your presentation. And then if we need to figure out the interpretation of what the ORS says, what's allowed and what's not, then that would be for us to have, what we would charge Eileen with going to the attorney and figuring that out.
No, and that's, I anticipated that, but I'm just trying to do like what Bob did. I'm trying to do
as much
most
as
of the
now,
work,
yeah.
but,
And we appreciate you doing all
Yes.
that.
Trust me, I do, I didn't wanna have
and
to.
so, but see, and that's where I'm at right now, is I'm gathering the facts.
Mhm.
But each one has different interpretations. So, I mean, it's pretty simple, an ORS is an ORS. There's no interpretation to it. The only one that can technically interpret it would be a judge.
Right.
So, with that being said, though, that's what I'm trying to narrow down right now, so we can have a, 51% say, yeah, this is what it is. So, that's what that's at, and I think I still have a couple more contacts to reach out this week to do on that. We've already addressed the issue with Jennifer, filling Bob's spot, so that issue is resolved. Good. New business, you said there is applications?
I'm not aware of any, so.
Oh, no.
I know one person reached out to me trying to find the application online, so, we're moving that, try to go online and find.
No?
That's easy. I'll grab it right now.
Oh, okay.
Jennifer, you got it?
She's not really, this is shuffling papers. Jenny, did you have something?
Excuse me. No, no.
Okay. Yes, this is the reason why they're so late. People here today. Who would like to be their minutes takers?
So you elected me for this one. I don't wanna do it full time. I can only interpret these notes. And then I'm not a computer guy. I'll send it to Bob and have him send it to the group. I'm sorry, folks. I'm a typewriter, that kind of guy.
Well, I appreciate you taking the notes today. Thank you, sir. Anyone like to take notes? Hearing none. We'll hold this over for next month and try to see what happens.
Well, and maybe when,
We get the new person.
maybe it will work. I know for me, right now, I just don't wanna commit to something that,
So then, and I totally understand the, everyone's personal, concerns through everything. Cause like, I have chicken scratch also, and my shorthand is really short. So, and commitment wise, I understand. And some people have too many things on their plate as is. So I totally understand and respect that. The only thing that I'm looking for is consistency, so one person gets the notes of the city. I know who that one person is who's taking the notes, and that I make sure that, hey, I haven't seen the notes. I email one person instead of having to email the whole group. So I'm just looking for consistency. That's my goal. So, that's why I'm gonna try to hold this over to next month. Next on the agenda is I wanted everyone to list 2 concerns regarding traffic safety that they wanted to work on, so we can make a goal of this. Chicken scratch. So, Clint, would you
Do we
like,
possibly want to hold this over for a larger group, or do we just want to revisit it next week to add theirs in? Or not next week, next month to add theirs in?
well, we could do it now, and I can put it on the notes and have Jackie and Clint add their 2, so they know what everyone's talking about already. Or, yeah, we can hold it over. What was the majority like?
Never knew it was a bit up tomorrow.
That being said, we're gonna hold over till next month. Thanks, Jenny.
Welcome.
So, hey, we're doing good on time. Canby Police Department. Introduce yourself, young lady.
I am Chris Ansack, I'm the code compliance officer, so
Nice.
AJ thought it would be beneficial for me to attend the meeting. So
Good,
that
good.
occasionally people have questions here that I may be better suited to answer than him.
Good, so,
What did you about the people who put no parking signs on their fences?
I have not heard that yet, nobody has brought me that complaint. So-
I'm not between Second and Third, and on Cedar between Third and Fourth.
They'll have to take them down, if it's city property, they're not allowed to,
They've attached, it's their
It's
personal.
their personal fence, but they're telling you that you can't park on the road.
if that's city property, it's public parking. And they will be ordered to remove their signs.
There you go, there's 2.
That's literally, it's that simple. So people call me, email me, create a dispatch call the chief, whatever it is, however they want to log their complaint, it will get to me, but you have to tell me that there's a complaint out there.
Cool.
I deal with all of the code for the city, so I don't only deal with parked cars. I deal with setbacks, I work with planning, I deal with all of the things, so.
Well, very
It's
nice to
important
meet
for,
you.
thank you, it's important for people to let me know what's happening out there.
Well, and we look forward to your input and your attention,
Thank you. I appreciate
so
it.
you're always welcome by all
Thank you,
means.
yeah, thank you.
So how do we find out, what's enforceable, and what's not?
You just call me and I
And then you-
go through that. I did so many calls that aren't actually enforceable, but, you know, I still follow through and let
I know,
people know what it is.
When the tree goes, I put Holly is blocking the stop sign.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
it's too bad, the beautiful tree, but.
I know, but they gotta turn around so you can see the stop sign.
The commercial vehicles parked in residential areas, where's the guideline on that?
It's my understanding that it depends on the commercial vehicle. So if someone has a take-home work car, they're allowed to have that. It is just a vehicle. Semi trucks are not allowed to park. So,
About 10-wheel trucks,
I'm sorry,
10-wheel,
I
Not
don't,
18.
I don't know what that is.
just 3-axle tractor. 3-axle,
So it's without a.
dump truck.
That would be something I would have to check into. I can't answer that right now.
So you said that semi trucks cannot park on residential roads?
So they have like 2 areas in town where they're allowed to park, and it is not in the residential neighborhoods.
Okay, because we have something that gets parked every evening on Southwest 13th, near the softball fields.
So I would call dispatch and create a call, and an officer can come and deal with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and there are officers who enjoy issuing that citation.
okay, okay.
Yeah, but my office hours are 8 to 4:30, so anything that happens outside of that, if it's a pressing situation such as that, you call the non-emergency number and they can send an officer out. If it's something that they can't deal with or I need to deal with, they just let me know the next day, send me an email or a text or, yeah. Send me the radio call, and then I know that that's something I can follow up on.
Okay.
And do you follow up with the recording party?
Yes.
Awesome. We'll hopefully see AJ here and see what he has, for reports. Planning.
I don't have any updates. I'm just here to answer any questions.
Good. Questions, concerns?
There he is.
Perfect time.
What's going on with Chipotle?
It's been permitted, so should be in there. I don't have a timeline for you, unfortunately.
Okay.
They've been working on that building.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's been approved. It's moving along.
There's been work going on in the old Rite Aid building. Is Grocery Outlet actually getting you a timeline yet?
I don't think so. If it's just internal work, we might not have seen it come through us yet.
Yeah, it's been trucks in the little pickup trucks. There's been people in the building, so they're.
Yeah,
finished.
yeah. We haven't seen anything, especially specific to Grocery Outlet. I would know. So
Okay. Well, it is official they're coming because they
And the
just.
Marshalls,
numbers.
All right.
what about the Marshalls that's going in at the Big Five? They're doing some work. Are they getting closer?
I don't have a timeline on that either. It's been approved, so it's kind of their timeline. I'm sure they want to get open.
Great, thank you.
I heard July, but I don't know for sure. That's just rumor mill stuff.
Okay. AJ?
Yeah, we had, you can see the numbers, 336 for citations. For DUI arrests, we had several overtime grant funded DUI shifts that we worked in May. I want to say 4 or 5 of those DUI arrests came from grant time. Traffic crimes, I think those are including hit and runs, reckless driving, things like that. If you scroll down, Spencer, go down to where the crashes are at. Flip that around. So a couple of these hit and runs are in parking lots, 225, that's obviously at City Hall, the library. Fred Meyer, 1401 Southeast First, Country Club, that's the Country Club parking lot. The notable traffic crash, couple traffic crashes that I had on there were the traffic crash versus pedestrian, that's actually traffic crash versus bicycle. Right there at First and Fourth, so between the old Rite Aid and the fairgrounds. The bicyclist was at fault. He was trying to ride northbound, unsure if he was trying to go across the tracks like towards the fairgrounds or if he was trying to make a left turn to go westbound on Southeast First Avenue. But from what I gathered, he was late getting to the intersection on a bicycle, and when the light turned red, he was trying to hurry up and make it through the intersection, and a car going westbound crashed into him and launched him off his bicycle. So ultimately it was the bicyclist's fault. The other notable one was at Northwest 10th and Hawley, I believe. I believe there was a couple vehicles towed in that one, so it was a pretty significant crash. I don't think there was a ton of injuries on it, but as far as vehicle damage goes, it was a pretty decent crash. The other ones, there was one related to the construction zone, the 199 Bird Parkway, and there was another one. I'm not seeing it on here. It must have been the first week of June, maybe June 1st or something that happened right in front of McDonald's. Related to the construction zone. Other than that, I've met with the excavating company and ODOT a couple times. Their primary issues are with pedestrians just running across the road in the construction zone, specifically behind level truck sales. There's a gap in the fence behind the business there, and I think a lot of high school kids are coming from the Honda Pit neighborhood, going across the railroad tracks, and
We
then
talked about
crossing.
that last month.
I'm a culprit. My gas can over to BP.
School's out tomorrow, so maybe that will go down.
Possibly, yeah, but even then, I just talked to Nate, the superintendent, and he was saying that now it's happening between Ivy and Grant. They're just, because the crosswalk's closed, they're just crossing just kind of in the middle of the road.
Great.
So,
Is there a way, who's responsible for the fence?
So that's gonna be property of Levels, and I believe ODOT had gone over there and had a conversation with the owner. And the owner refused to fix it because they fixed it before and they just keep tearing it down, and then it just is a never ending battle apparently, and so.
So the people using it as a crossway, cut it open or something again, or? Fun, okay.
So we have, correct me if I'm wrong, we have a sort of educational enforcement type of thing that's supposed to happen with the railroad stuff. A trespassing mission, I think we're gonna do it in August or September area. We're partnering with, there's some trained safety organization that we're partnering with to do the operation. We're pretty much gonna, have detectives in unmarked cars or on foot waiting for people to cross the tracks in multiple locations, trespass on the railroad tracks. And we're gonna hopefully educate and, let people know that they can be criminally liable for trespassing on railroad property. And so that's kind of as a result of the obvious train incidents that we've had recently.
Well, my 2 cents would be September, that way the kids at the school would be included in that.
Yep.
So like back to
Probably
school,
late August, I think is when we're gonna do it. I think we have a date. I'm just not sure when
Okay,
the exact date is that we're gonna do that, but I know we're doing it.
So the incident, the traffic crash and the bicyclist, that was right there at the fairgrounds,
So the bicyclist was going from South Pine, like if he's coming from the fire department,
right?
his light had turned green, he's riding northbound. His light was green, then it changed to yellow. By the time it turned red, he was probably just entering the intersection, but was trying to
Yeah.
go pedal really fast to get through it in time and just didn't make it in time, and a car that was going westbound hit him as he came out.
So the trains that were all sitting there were just sitting there by accident?
Are you thinking of?
You're thinking of two different incidents. So the train incident is a separate one from the bicycle.
Okay, so we did have recently have another,
Yes, there was another train versus pedestrian that was crossing. In that case, it's my understanding the pedestrian might have been deaf
yes, that's what I've heard.
and he was carrying groceries, and there was a freight train. You know how there's 2 sets of tracks there?
Yeah.
There was a freight train that was stopped, and the tail end of the train, I want to say it was about halfway into that intersection. So it was blocking about half of the intersection. The pedestrian was walking northbound and didn't bother looking to see down the other set of tracks, and an Amtrak was going westbound, 61.
Gates were down.
The gates were
Yeah,
down,
gates were
but
down.
the gates don't block the pedestrian path.
Yeah, right. But I
And
mean,
so he didn't check the blind spot around the freight train.
And the freight train engineer was
And-
trying to wait him to stop, and he thought he was waiting back.
And so he just kind of was looking straight and just kept walking and when the Amtrak train came through.
not a good idea when
So-
gates are down.
Yeah, the gates were down, that's what gets me, it's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could see in his mind, he probably thought the gates are down for this train that stopped right here.
Yeah, I
And
got it.
so, and he probably just thought that was the only train. And
And that Amtrak comes sailing through, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Amtrak's don't slow down very much.
so I talked to one of the Amtrak guys, and they're permitted to go 65
Yeah.
through town. In Washington, I think it's a little faster, but I think the speed that they were doing was like 60 at the time, and so they were within their speed limit.
okay, anything else?
I don't know if you've introduced yourself yet, you did,
Yeah.
okay. I know
There was some
Christiane
dead time
with me today, I
Yeah.
figured. So I brought Christiane today, so any parking questions or code questions, she's here to answer them, so.
Perfect.
No, I can come anytime if you guys want me to, just let me know and I'll come over.
She should be happy to show up, or.
I'm more than happy to do that, I just don't want to, impose.
You're,
No, no,
no,
it's on-
no, it never goes. You're always guaranteed a seat.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Okay, can I ask one more question?
Yeah,
The crash at, on 10th and, Ivy,
10th and Holly.
Holly, do you look at the car, see if the speed on speedometer is showing at the time of crash? I understand speedometers lock in on.
Not always, speedometers, especially nowadays with newer cars, they're digital. And so, I know older cars had done that, but that's not gonna tell you exactly how fast they were going. When it comes to like serious injury and fatal crashes, if we get a warrant, we can download I think it's called the CDR. And so that will tell you the amount of braking that was being applied, the speed the vehicle was going at time of crash. But in a regular crash case, we're not gonna, you know.
I guess you can tell by the amount of damage and the impact.
Yeah, typically you can tell. And I didn't take that crash, that was patrol that took that, and I wasn't able to read the report, I just kind of heard it in passing from another officer about what happened. So,
Thank you.
yep.
I use that intersection almost daily.
10th and Holly.
And it really comes, it's not a bad intersection. I mean, it just requires patience, which is the issue at most of these. So you're sitting at Kent to turn on to Holly, and there's a lot of flow.
No one's.
So you just have to be patient to make
Yeah,
it.
who don't
you
stop
know?
at the stop sign. I mean, believe me, I ride my bicycle down that way, comes down and, okay, blow it right through the stop sign. Blind.
Yeah.
We all ask ourselves these questions, I'm sure.
Right, Public Works,
Originally, I believe that the South Ivy sidewalk project was supposed to start on the 12th. I think that they had pushed it back. Cause I didn't hear of anyone actually being out there today. So they've moved that particular project back, I believe a week. We're still waiting on one more document. We had the pre-construction utility meeting with, the contractor and some county guys, last week. So yeah, expect, I believe they say that they're going to be starting on the south end of the project, so closer towards, science and graphics and the swim pool and stuff like that, and then they'll be working their way north. And it sounds like they're starting with most of the, storm water work, so, they're gonna do all the storm, come back, do sidewalks, and then doing the overlay, but that is probably gonna be about a 1.5-year project. So we're just transferring 99's problems onto Ivy here shortly. Yeah. Trying to think of what else we have going on.
Did you have the radar out anywhere?
I did have the radar out. I meant to send you over the data.
Is that from Elm?
Did we do Elm already?
I haven't seen Elm.
I don't know. The last one I put out was on Redwood, North Redwood. Because I believe it was at the last meeting that we had a citizen come from Redwood that.
that's, yep.
So I have that data. I was trying something new to see if the computer could figure out, instead of me figuring out what Bob had to. If there's certain times where the speed is excessive to where it could like, hey, you're getting a lot more at this particular hour. So I was still trying to work the software to see if it would do it. That way I didn't have to go through it line by line. But I wasn't successful in finding that portion out. So yeah, I will send you out the full thing and I'll let you take over Bob's going through it line by line.
Yes.
And maybe you can convince him to help you on it.
What's your hourly rate?
Yeah.
Yes.
Consultant fee.
Consultant.
Do you want me to look at it?
If you want to, you can, but you, I didn't want to put more on you because I know that you still have some other personal stuff going, so.
But I did commit, well, so you have a speed study.
I do have a speed study from Redwood. It was a 2-week study. So there is that information. It, just at first glance, looking at everything, it looks very similar to what was done last time on Redwood. There's, I believe the average speed was 27 and 28. You know, there's always the one outlier. I think the fastest one was 50 something, but you know, for the most part, everyone was rating that 31 to 28.
Just a heads up, those average speeds, I never look at them because the far majority of people, over 60-something%, always obey the law.
Mhm.
And so it draws that average down. It's really looking at that graph,
Yeah,
and then you start to pick up on, your non-compliance is much easier that way.
Why don't you send it to both? And
Okay.
if I would like to do it, you can do it. If not, I will surely try.
all right.
Is that okay, Bob?
Yeah, send it to me and I'll look at it.
Anything else?
One other thing, it's so nice that Chris Ann is here because she
Oh.
came to me
Yes,
with a little bit of an issue, and I was trying to remember exactly how to go about this, but am I in the right spot?
yes. It's right there. It's that bend.
So on this bend through here is
Oh, that guy right there.
Yes.
the trailer's being parked on a corner. And as far as trying to take any parking away,
It's very perfect.
it is fair parking, but there are some complaints.
I get regular complaints from numerous people about concerns with safety there. The gentleman isn't always as compliant as he should be with keeping it right. That picture is deceiving because he's got it right on the curb. Almost looks like it's a little bit on the curb. Last time when Spencer and I both went and looked at it, he was far enough away, and there was another trailer of his on the other side that it was forcing one lane of travel through there. And the complaints I get are that on a dark night with kids speeding through there, someone is going to end up hitting it and there could be serious injury. So I went to Spencer and asked him what we could do as the city to try and figure out a way to make this a safer space right there. Just because I get so many complaints, and every time I go out there and chalk it, he moves it, which is compliance, but then he'll move it right back a couple days later. So I have been fighting the good fight, so to speak, with this, trying to get it safe enough that people aren't concerned about.
So let me ask you the question. If you park it far enough away from the curb, is that a problem?
It is, but the problem is that I don't have any way to issue a citation to it because there are no plates on that trailer.
Okay.
Well,
so-
then that's something to go to, isn't it?
I don't have any authority over that. That would have to
Somebody
be
trying
something,
to-
yeah. I don't believe that those trailers are required to have license plates, but that is not something that I am permitted to write per the city code. So.
And
You
so,
have building for people that can do that.
and then technically, it is fair parking.
It is street right of way, fair parking.
And on the street, you can park a vehicle on the street for
72 hours.
72 hours.
Just 3 days.
And so he does that, you chalk it, and he plays cat and mouse with you.
Yes,
But he's playing by the rules. He or she is playing by the rules.
yes.
Okay. And the concerns are that it's going from 2 lanes to 1 lane.
If there's cars on the other side of the street, yes. The main concern is that the way that
It's a
road
blind-
ends
it's a
right there,
blind
a
curve.
little bit.
It turns it into a blind curve because of the
Yeah.
obstructed view with the tall truck and somebody parked on the other side.
Yeah.
Somebody coming up through that little S curve and somebody else on the other, they're not gonna see each
Yeah,
other.
I've driven it.
I think everybody in town has probably been through there once.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I
You know.
know, no, exactly.
So, I think just leave that in your guys' wheelhouse, cause I don't think there's nothing.
So really the only thing, and this one, because it would be in a normal situation, there would be no reason to take away parking.
Right.
So I guess what my thing is there are getting complaints. There's really nothing that we currently have that can combat that, so the only thing would be is to remove parking. Is that something that's not something that I can say yes or no to? I think ultimately that would go to council. So before we tell people to go to council and let you guys hear it, it's to bring it to this body first. Does this body want to recommend removing parking in this
You're
area?
talking about painting that cone.
Painting the curb.
Well, just as a question, does it make any sense to define unclated, unlicensed trailers differently than other vehicles of the road that are given that 72-hour window? I mean, do we say that trailers aren't allowed that same liberty? They can't just be sitting there for periods of time? That, you know, they kind of have to keep on moving or get parked somewhere off the road?
That would be a full code change, I would think.
Yeah.
And
Sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely more. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if it would be a worthwhile long-term thing or not, or if we want to do it.
I mean, to be completely honest, it would make things so much easier for me if there were codes that addressed that kind of situation. I came from Seattle. I don't know if any of you guys know my backstory. I moved here from Seattle. I worked for the Seattle Police Department for 6 years. The city code for Seattle actually had an ordinance that addressed detached trailers. They're not allowed on the street at all. So that was an immediate citation and a 24-hour impound. They were there the next day, it was impounded. So I came here and was very surprised that there wasn't something that addressed that issue. I get a lot of complaints with these types of trailers just sitting on the street.
So is that trailer currently attached to that truck or is it detached?
No, it's detached. It is almost always.
So the issue is the trailer and the truck. We have two issues.
That trailer or truck, whatever that is what I've never seen there. The person who lives there does have a number of vehicles in his driveway, but I don't think that truck is.
So the
one of
trailer.
them. The trailer is the issue.
And I actually was surprised. I didn't know. Personally, I didn't know we didn't have an ordinance that addressed detached trailers. So that should be addressed, I would say.
Well, but this
We
is
did
also,
Addressed through the planning department, I think.
this is also the city of
Hey,
Canby,
Christian,
the farm town that. You know, a lot of farmers have trailers.
Well, I deal
Yeah.
with just within the city, so I don't go outside of town.
Right.
There aren't any. farmers
There
in
aren't
the
any
city
farmers
limits.
left in Canby. It's all residential now. So typically what I'm dealing with are trailers like that you would put a car on or a motorcycle. Some are shorter, some are longer. Most of them do not have license plates. So that creates a little bit of an issue for me in that I need to be able to issue a citation to a license plate. I don't do citations to registered owners of vehicles or trailers or.
So what do you do if there was an ordinance that said that detached trailers were not allowed on the road? How do you follow through on that? Like, what's the connection point between this unattached trailer that's in the middle of the road and the enforcement?
That would be very easy. I would simply drive around like I do every day. And if I saw it, it would immediately be a citation.
But I think she's asking is if you can't do it right now without a license plate, how would you do it?
How would you enforce it?
Therein lies the issue as well, is that if they don't have a plate, I don't have authority on that. I would have to check with the chief and see if that's something that a sworn officer would deal with. But honestly, their time is more valuable than that. They need to be focusing on other things.
Sure. At that point, doesn't it kind of potentially turn into something where a notice gets put on the thing itself and then after a while it gets towed?
Yes. So that would more than likely be the way that I would have to deal with it, is just immediately tag it for 24-hour impounds and then come back the next day. If it's still there, it just gets impounded, whether I can attach it to a license plate or a, a person who's gonna own it, because ultimately, any vehicle I impound, I also have to notify an owner. That's the only time I actually get owner information, is when I have to send them a compliance letter and let them know that I have impounded whatever vehicle they have on the street.
Is that part of what complicates abandoned vehicles, like here and in Portland and stuff, is if it's not licensed and there's nobody to notify, then it can't be towed?
No, it can still be towed.
Okay, it can still be towed and impounded, even if we don't really know who it belongs to?
Yeah, if the owner information comes back as they sold it, it just goes to the tow yard, and then the tow yard does whatever they need to do with it. Typically, somewhere in the, DMV records, there'll be something that says that it was sold, but it might not have current owner information, or, I've been dealing with one vehicle where the owner information was an owner who owned it over 40 years ago, and it just never got changed. So thankfully, I was able to talk to that person and let them know what was going on, but I am required by law to notify somebody if I have that information that a vehicle associated with them has been impounded.
Gotcha. You have to notify if information is available, but if there is a lack of information, that doesn't restrict you from taking action if it's needed.
Really not. Yes, I am still.
Thank you.
Okay, time out. We're getting pressed on time, and I know Bob's got a question too.
It looks like an intersection, right?
It is the T intersection.
It is a T intersection. I think one of the things that should be taken into account is that the intersection process. Because as cars come to the intersection, that parking within the cone of the intersection, even though it's a T, reduces that intersection sign tremendously. I mean, I think there's grounds for action when you park within a T intersection. Because what it is it's restricting vision
Talking about the
within the
50
intersection.
foot rule, where 50 feet from the intersection.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm just looking at this, aside from trailers and everything like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
The core issue is that when you come to that intersection, you can't see really well. And you have another car that you're driving along, and another car. So I think the enforcement issue, at least from my perspective, is the intersection.
And Spencer can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that would pertain to this side of the intersection and not.
I don't know if it would necessarily count on the other side of the intersection, on the straight through. This is one of those ones where it's a very goofy design. I
Yeah.
wish they wouldn't have designed it this way. They did, it's what we're living with. But Bob is right, is regardless of the trailer itself, the current issue at hand is something parked there currently legally.
Yeah,
The city is getting complaints about it. The only way to get it removed is to put up a no parking. The city's not in the business of going away and taking people's parking just on a whim. Is this something that
And so.
we need to have people that are calling KrisAnne to complain? We need to have them come here and have this body listen, make a recommendation that then would go to the city council and let them decide if this is justified to remove these citizens parking in front of their house.
And
So to answer that,
it doesn't qualify for a toll. Because that, even on the straightaway, it's still within the T of the intersection.
Correct.
Okay, so
As far as I know, just because you could have on-street parking on the opposite side of a T intersection.
okay.
You can't. It's just, this one is goofy because there is that corner right there next to
just
it.
that weird bend.
So these corners, on the corners of 9th can be painted yellow. And in fact, the one with the fire hydrant there could extend it even farther. But as far as everything on the other side, right now, we can't do anything with it unless it comes to council and trying to protect council from getting bombarded with everybody. That's what this commission's for. So does this commission want to hear those arguments and make a recommendation on this?
So we're gonna say yes.
My house set up.
Yeah.
And that's-
So there you
There's
go.
your answer.
I'm sorry.
I'd be upset.
Yes.
I'd be
Okay.
upset if the walls are.
I can get a hold of all of them and let them know that they need to
Yeah.
come here and express their concerns to that.
Individually, if possible, yes, a large group as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As they see to, but yes,
Okay.
we'll address it, or we'll hear it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna change things up just for a second. Sorry, Tracy, I know you're next.
No, you're fine.
Jennifer, you got any input before you leave? Hearing none.
No, I don't. No, I'm glad we had the discussion about the trailers. That was insightful information, but I don't have anything to add for my report or anything else, so I'm good.
All right. So Tracy, input,
I
concern?
don't really have much of a report, but I can answer questions if anybody has some.
Questions? Answers? Hearing
Just
none,
been
moving
any
on.
questions?
I do have one quick question.
Sure.
Do you have any idea when the meeting court thing is approved for crimes? Is that said and done? Or
Which one?
municipal court for the criminal side?
That has not been completed and decided just yet.
Okay.
And so the next issue is Canby Fire District. Canby Fire District, any input?
Can't be very good. And not here.
So, AJ, it didn't work. Believe me, I put it in the letter. So if they're watching.
My surprise face.
Yeah. So Deanna, board members input?
Yeah, at, last board meeting of the HOA that I'm involved with, which is off of 13th Street. It was brought up, by the president who would like to see no parking at 13th. Right now it is a nightmare when I try to leave my loop, Cedar Loop. I try to leave to go on to 13th. And I'm forced to turn to the right because the view is obstructed. So there's a lot more vehicles coming. At South Cedar Loop, we have like a spot where two people can park right in front of our loop. And that car is normally parked there, but last week there was a big F-150, F-250 truck parked behind it. I could not see. My husband and I just were like, we're turning to the right. We're gonna go down and turn on one of our cul-de-sacs and get out. But the president of the HOA wanted me to bring up about maybe making it where you can't park on 13th on either side. Because softball games, soccer games, people are parking in the bike lanes. There's gonna be an accident. I mean, I'm getting really concerned just with the safety of what I'm seeing now that I'm around there at rush hour time. There's a lot of traffic. Another issue that I wanted to bring up is at South 13th and Ivy at the light. A lot of people right now with 99E mess with the construction are taking 13th. And yesterday I was coming from Oregon City Way, got my husband from his dialysis appointment. We were coming home. And right by the adult center, the turn lane to turn onto Ivy was clear back up past the adult center. I went to try to get in the straight lane to go, and I had to maneuver around a rig that was gonna block the lane, but luckily they saw that I was trying to go straight, not turning. So I was wondering if we can try to make, for the interim with the construction zone, make that not a yield light to turn from 13th to Ivy, because both sides are getting a lot more traffic. And it'd be nice for the interim while the construction's going to have the people turning to be able to turn, or else you're gonna have accident at Ivy and 13 fairly soon, because yesterday was a nightmare. And it's at rush hour.
It is all the time. We are still waiting for the county to finish up deciding on. And I think what it's coming down to is who's going to be paying for switching over that from being a yield to a dedicated. We've been working on that for, I think, about a year now, Bob. And it's
about 5.
Yeah, it's been ongoing, and I think that they
It's been
are,
a while.
I think that everyone's just dragging their feet until the sidewalk project is complete, so then the city take over, and we're trying to be like, no, get this fixed now
Okay.
before we actually do it. So I think this body has talked about it with everyone using the different side streets, but no, with the stuff on 99, I mean, me living on the north side, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, I tried to leave the house and Nice Bridge was backed up from Grant, clear up and around almost to Douglas. So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that had to do with people going to the Renaissance Fair, trying to avoid 99, but no matter what, there's 20,000 people in this town that are trying to get around, and the main road is not available. And so everyone's going to the side streets.
Well, I just know that the Ivy one, you can now legally turn up, but not on the 13th. And I just noticed the last few days, and yesterday was just absurd, but we were leaving
Yeah.
later, so it was like, whoa, it is rush hour and this is a nightmare. But I'm just thankful people are patient, but I just wanna bring up that it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Absolutely. I drive through there a lot, and I notice that myself, that there's a considerable amount of traffic going through there, especially as you get later in the day, closer to the time the school's getting out there, you know, it becomes a bottleneck in that intersection.
And then the last thing I wanted to bring up, I let Eric and Jackie know, I've accepted a new job. So I start a job with the city as their financial manager starting July 1st. They are aware that I'm part of the traffic safety, and they are fine with me continuing doing that for the city of Canby. But they informed me that for July, I'm gonna be training under a lady who I'm replacing as retiring. So I need to be there for July. So the next meeting I will not be able to be at, but I should be able to be back in August. But just want to let people know that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. It's great to have you on with this.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And with that note, if you would email us your 2 thoughts.
Yeah,
so
I will.
We could have that. We could try to finish that issue next month.
Yep,
Thank you.
yep.
For Sago, Gary,
Not much to report from my area, same old. We could put up a speed limit on Knight Bridge, so nobody goes 25 there. I've seen 45, 50 out there.
Bob,
My 2 goals I would recommend to you guys have consistently been the same. I think any photo enforcement of speed limits within the city. That's our top complaint that comes here. And Officer Miller does an excellent job of responding, but the poor guy's only can stretch so far. And he cannot be there at 3 o'clock in the morning to catch these clowns that are doing that. So radar enforcement would seek to help a lot. And then there's bridges with the county that are not, old issues that are not being, they're not compliant, and I don't know how to deal with that, like that intersection at Ivy and 13th, that light is a disaster and it needs to be solved. And they're just not, they're dragging their feet. And I suspect, I'll tell you, it put on thing, I suspect it's because of their budget. You know, they've, all budgets in county got cut to build the courthouse. And so they're trying to delay, and our citizens are suffering from it. Those are the two.
One's not here, Jennifer, we already touched on you. My input is, I went to the comprehensive plan meeting. That was a little, different, I'll say. I'm still, I just barely grasped where I was at in the system there, so since I came in late, Bob had attended some. I guess there's another meeting scheduled for Thursday night that I'm gonna try to attend to. Did you get that email about the streets?
I did, and that was the first time I had seen any of that. Where did you get that from? Was that at the comp study, or did you talk, okay?
Because with everyone's conversation here today, this picture that you're about to see, is gonna make conversations like this redundant. The streets that you see right there in the bold red line, streets that are going to be impacted with increased traffic up to the year 2045. That's what they're projecting.
Eric, could you please send that out after the meeting? I'd like to be able to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So, yeah, we could, and here's my thought. We could put speed cushions on these red main bold lines to slow traffic down. They're coming into the town. And it's just gonna divert it onto the other streets. And this city was built with the problem of like that one intersection. And the question being is, if the city goes and takes parking away from that, so then is it going to be the whole length of that street?
Eventually, that's what, to me, it seems like. It's
So then eventually then it will be the whole city of Canby? Because if this street's no parking like that, then why is the other street allowed to do it? Same with speed cushions. I think speed cushions, I apologize to the city fire department. But I used to be an ambulance driver for AMR for 18 and a half years. So I used to drive over speed bumps. Cities put them in, and it's just what happens in time.
I will add to that, that we currently don't have a funding mechanism for it.
Oh, I know, and unfortunately, I missed the street feed meeting. But yeah, street feed.
Street fee wouldn't cover those.
No,
Huh?
the street fee
Street
will
fee
not.
will not cover cushions.
No.
It's
No.
curb to curb,
Curb to curb.
just curb to curb cover, payment.
So, yeah, anyway, I just wanted to share that with everyone. That's what it's gonna look like.
That's what's projected.
That's, well, that's what it is right now.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, it's on 24. I mean, I don't see any deviation between that and what it is right now.
You guys notice that all of those bold lines are the streets that we talk about the most.
Yeah.
13th, 9th Bridge, Territorial, that, there's nothing new here.
Yeah.
And give you an anecdote, not one thing, is that I have to drive out to Beaverton every once in a while to go babysit my grandson. And getting onto I-5 and then to 217 and through Tualatin, there's one significant thing that I pick up. When everybody is nice and they drive 45 or 50 miles an hour, the traffic moves. It's when everybody's speeding and zipping and crossing and cutting off people that the traffic comes to a dead stop. Lesson to be learned is that on these streets, your future problem is speed. No matter how many people you put on a street, you can't increase the length of it. You build it, they will fill it. So you have to slow the traffic down.
Everybody has to be nice.
Just be nice. And, but people don't want to be nice because they think they're important. So you just need to slow it down. And we don't have enough officers to slow everybody down. Keep that in mind.
But yeah, but everything that we address here, bottom line is, it's people's behavior and accountability.
Yeah.
I mean, and then unfortunately, it's also society's acceptance of, well, we can drive 10 over the speed limit before we get a ticket. We could have 5 traffic crashes at this intersection before we have to put up a stop sign.
Well, you have the legs cut off enforcement because, people are screaming, you have too much, you don't have enough people, you gotta have officers out there to enforce everything. You don't have babysitters. You go out to a domestic dispute, you're supposed to be a psychologist, not an enforcement officer. People that have attitudes, they're behind the wheel. Look at a commercial sometime. What do you see in a commercial? You've got the Toyota sliding through the dirt, cutting around through town. People see this and, oh, that's gotta be me. That's the way I gotta drive my little car. Now, it comes down to human nature. And I don't think 8 of us are gonna change a whole lot right now by looking at a graph and talking about speed bumps and stuff. It's just, I don't know, we gotta dig a little deeper.
I know when I got a ticket in Milwaukee out of that electronic wagon there, I have never sped again through Milwaukee.
Everywhere else.
Thank you.
My wife tells me I drive too slow, but you know, I'm just telling you. Example, when Officer Miller went on Holly and did that thing, traffic slowed down, right? Now, he can't do that every day because he's got all these other streets he's got to work. But I'm just saying, enforcement does change behavior.
But they can't be everywhere.
I'm telling you,
My newest best friend has a Mazda RX-8. When he gets behind that, he is Mr. Direct. I mean, he just, I don't say he scares me, but he has a death wish. And I really don't want him taking me with him. On 217, he had to turn off at a certain exit. He missed it, so he just goes through the construction barriers and goes.
Oh, geez.
I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I'm a transportation safety advisor for a trucking company, and I'm with this crazy man. Don't get me wrong, he's unique, but yeah, he's one of those, and I'm not gonna sit there and say something to him. You start criticizing people's driving habits, and they get really offensive. Even one of my coworkers. We're going up to Columbia Distributors. He cuts across 13th Street, across Pinewood, and people are honking at him, and I say, hey, and he got upset with me because made a criticism, then I told Mayor, I says, I wasn't the one honking the horn at you, you know, they're at the museum, 13. Okay, so we all have our, you know, people that have to deal with that there.
So with that being said,
I did, print off Jackie's email to us and I'll give it to Gary to put in, Jackie's report, because it talked about how there was, someone was trying to pass another vehicle. She heard from a neighbor on Southwest 13th, as well as not doing the speed limit.
Hmm.
And then, there was some aggressive tailgating on Southeast 13th the past week. And, there was also complaints of noise from the dump trucks making, like slamming down hard or something. So, I'll give you the
It's usually
email.
tailgate swinging back. That's what I call them, slam bangs.
Yeah.
Okay.
that being said, it's 10 minutes after 10.
Jenny has left already.
Yeah, she had to leave before
Yeah.
10. She's-
Yep. So any questions, concerns? Okay, that being said, meeting's adjourned.
Hey,
Thank you.
Chris Ann's email's on here, if you wanna add her to the list. Is
Okay.
that you, that's that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.